Hola, hola, te doy la bienvenida a Spring Spanish. Welcome to Spring Spanish. Yo soy Mariana. I am Mariana and I am one of the teachers at Spring Spanish. Today I'm going to teach you a very important aspect of Spanish, the conjugation of verbs. Unfortunately, there is quite a bit more to verb conjugations in Spanish than there is in English. You might have already seen crazy Spanish verb conjugation tables, pero no te preocupes, but don't worry. There's really no point in memorizing conjugation tables. Instead, in this video, I'll give you an easy way for you to imprint regular verb conjugations on your brain so you can use them in conversations without having to think about conjugation tables. Sounds good? Then let's get started. I know that verb conjugation in Spanish might come across as unpredictable, nonsensical even, but there are two features that will allow you to fully understand how verb conjugation works in Spanish. Number one, in terms of conjugation, verbs in Spanish may be either regular or irregular. Regular verbs follow a pattern. Irregular verbs don't. To keep things simple, we'll focus on regular verbs for now. Number two, regardless of whether they are regular or irregular, Spanish verbs in the infinitive form, also known as the unconjugated form, will always end in either AR, ER, or IR. You should remember these endings because they will tell you la raíz del verbo, the stem of the verb. And when it comes to regular verbs, the stem never changes. Spanish has many tenses, and verb conjugation depends on the tense. But again, to keep things simple, we're going to focus only on the present tense, which is called el presente. This tense allows you to talk about things that are currently happening. Enough theory for now. Let's go to the essence of the matter with a couple of examples. Let's have a look at three verbs. Cantar, to sing, which ends in AR. Aprender, to learn, which ends in ER. Aplaudir, to applaud, which ends in IR. If you take those endings out, you are left with the stem. Cant, aprend, applaud. If I want to express that singing, learning, and applauding are things that I usually do, I would say, Yo canto una canción. I sing a song. Yo aprendo alemán. I learn German. Yo aplaudo en el teatro. I applaud at the theater. What's the pattern? Yes, when regular verbs are conjugated in the present tense in the first person singular, which is I, the ending is always O, regardless of whether the infinitive form ends in AR, ER, or IR. Easy, right? So, how do you imprint this pattern on your brain? Memorize some of these verbs as chunks or word combinations directly in a sentence. That way you're actually learning and imagining them in context. For example, you could make a flashcard saying, on the front, blank, I sing una canción. What's the answer? On the back, yo canto una canción. If you learn a couple of different sentences like this using flashcards, it will become so automatic for you to say yo aprendo or yo canto that you won't have to worry about verb tables anymore. Alright, so what should we do if we want to talk about you? Look, tú cantas una canción. You sing a song. Tú aprendes español. You learn Spanish. Tú aplaudes en el teatro. You applaud at the theater. So, if the ending is AR, the conjugation in the present tense in the second person singular, tú, will be AS. But if the ending is either ER or IR, the conjugation will be ES. You can memorize these patterns in exactly the same way. Create flashcards where you fill in the conjugation or the chunk in a sentence, like this. On the front, blank, you sing una canción. On the back, tú cantas una canción. Now, the following personal pronouns share the same conjugation. If you don't know which are the personal pronouns in Spanish, you should not miss out on Paulísima's video about this topic. Ella canta una canción. She sings a song. Él aprende español. He learned Spanish. Ella aplaude en el teatro. She applauds at the theater. Usted canta una canción. Formal you, sing a song. Usted aprende español. Formal you, learn Spanish. Usted aplaude en el teatro. Formal you, applaud at the theater. So, verb conjugation in the third person singular, ella, él, and in the formal version of you, usted, is just like the informal version of you, tú, but with an S at the end. Now, if we want to talk about us, which in Spanish would be either nosotras or nosotros, depending on gender, the conjugation would be as follows. Nosotras cantamos una canción. We sing a song. Nosotros aprendemos español. We learn Spanish. Nosotras aplaudimos en el teatro. We applaud at the theater. What's the pattern here? We've got the stem, and depending on whether the ending is AR, ER, or IR, the conjugation is either amos, hemos, or imos. That's why I told you these endings are the key. Once again, the following pronouns share the same conjugation. Ustedes cantan una canción. Plural you, sing a song. Ustedes aprenden español. Plural you, learn Spanish. Ustedes aplauden en el teatro. Plural you, applaud at the theater. Ellas cantan una canción. They sing a song. Ellos aprenden español. They learn Spanish. Ellas aplauden en el teatro. They applaud at the theater. As you might have noticed, the verbs ending in ER and IR are conjugated in exactly the same way in the second and the third person plural, ustedes and ellos or ellas. Additionally, when compared with the conjugation of the formal version of you, usted, and the third person singular, ella or él, there's another pattern. The conjugation is exactly the same, but an N is added at the end. Ella canta una canción. Ellos cantan una canción. Usted aprende español. Ustedes aprenden español. Side note. In Spain, people make a distinction in the second person plural. They say vosotras or vosotros in informal situations, and they say ustedes in formal situations. The conjugation of vosotras, vosotros is peculiar, so you should definitely check out our video to learn more about this topic. So, to sum things up, the conjugation in the first person singular, yo, is always o. The conjugation in the second person singular, tú, is either as or es. The conjugation in the third person singular, ella or él, and the formal version of you, usted, is either a or e. You basically drop the s from the informal version of you. The conjugation in the first person plural, nosotras or nosotros, depends on the ending of the infinitive form. If it's AR, the conjugation is amos. If it's ER, the conjugation is hemos. If it's IR, the conjugation is imos. The conjugation in the second and the third person plural, ustedes and ellas or ellos, is AN or EN. These patterns are followed by all regular verbs when conjugated in the present tense. Try to always learn them in the context of a sentence instead of verb tables. It will help you quite a lot when speaking Spanish in conversations. Now, let's see if you're able to conjugate the verbs in the following examples. Ustedes aplaud mientras yo canto. Cuando ellas aprend, yo aplaudo. Tú aplaud porque él aprende. Nosotros cant mientras ella aplaude. Muy bien. Now you know the basics of verb conjugation in Spanish. If you want to know more, you should definitely sign up to the free Spanish training on our website. By doing so, not only will you get free sample lessons, but you'll also discover the method we use at our Spring Spanish Academy to teach students to speak fluent Spanish. This method consists in learning chunks, like yo canto una canción or yo aprendo alemán. Chunks will allow you to learn Spanish in no time, without having to worry too much about grammar rules. If you want more chunks, you should definitely watch the other videos on our channel and click on the link in the description box below to sign up to the training I mentioned. Nos vemos! Until next time. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and share this video with your friends.